Hi there, and welcome back to Ades Workshop. In this episode, we're going to go through, first of all, some viewer mail, bits and bobs that have come in, some new arrivals in the shop, some tools and bits and pieces that I've bought myself, a catch up on some more of the older tools that I've refurbished. We'll have a look at the new space for the shed extension that's going to be in that direction, and I'll show you a few bits of what I've been doing around the garden as well at the very end. Anyway, let's get straight on to the viewer mail. So a few weeks ago, when I was restoring the scribing block, where are we? This scribing block here, and I was filing a radius on a couple of little brackets. I think I just made an off-the-cuff remark, I wish I had a belt sander, or one day I'll have a belt sander, something like that. Anyway, one of my viewers came up with the goods. Let's show you. So as I was saying, a viewer of mine, I won't say his name, Jim K, you know who you are, contacted me and said, I've got something for you that I believe you've mentioned you needed. Now, Jim had come across this machine, brand new in the box, and apparently, I don't know whether it was a boot sale or where he got it from, I do not know. I know they sell these in Lidl's. I nearly actually bought one myself from Lidl's, thinking, you know, it'll do the job for what I want. But he picked one up and he said it was too cheap to leave it there, even though he had one of his own. And very kindly, and I'm overwhelmed by his generosity actually, very kindly posted this off to me. Yeah, it's a Parkside grinder belt sander. I mean, the belts are easy to get hold of. I may put, as I've already got a grinder, I may put a wire wheel or perhaps a a polishing head, with the Scotch-Brite wheel or something like that on this side. But yeah, I mean, that's absolutely wonderful. All I need now is the new shed extension to be able to put it in. So again, a viewer contacted me and said that he'd found a micrometer that was made in Jedburgh, Scotland. He didn't mention what make it was, and he asked if I've ever heard of them. So I hadn't heard of micrometers made in Scotland, let alone in Jedburgh. I don't think I'd ever heard of Jedburgh. Sorry to all my Scottish friends, but no, I hadn't heard of the place. So I sort of did a quick Google search, what have you. Jedburgh micrometers. Nothing there other than the place called Jedburgh. So my curiosity was aroused, and the gentleman, let me think now. We'll just say the initials JD. He knows who he is when he's watching this. JD. He sent me this micrometer in its box. He picked it up. It's something to do with the Model Engineering Club, but he sent it to me as an item of interest, and of course as an item that I can use as well. So I'll show you that. Well, when it turned up, to my amazement, Starrett. And it's a usual type Starrett box. Embossed on the top, Starrett, Jedburgh, Scotland. Now, I have heard people mention that Starrett did open up plants around the world, and once I found out it was Starrett, I researched Starrett, Jedburgh, and it turns out that Starrett did open a plant in Jedburgh, Scotland. I believe it was opened in 1958. So, yeah, made in the UK by the Starrett company. Let me just open the box up. I've actually fine wire wooled the box over, taking care not to destroy the logo, and giving it a coat of beeswax and what have you, so it's in nice condition, and tightened up the hinges and what have you. But yeah, again on the inside, the LS Starrett Company Limited, Jedburgh, Scotland, with the Starrett registered logo, and inside a 2 to 3 inch Starrett mic. It does say the Starrett on the body, and it's engraved into the handle where it would normally use the American address. This one has the LS Starrett Company Limited, Great Britain. Doesn't mention Jedburgh on it, but it just says Great Britain. So yes, a Starrett micrometer made in the UK, sometime between, I guess, 1958 and, I don't know, 1980 maybe, I don't know. It's a number 436 2 inch to 3 inch micrometer. The friction thimbles missing, but not to worry about that. I haven't got a 2 to 3 inch mic, but I have now. So JD, thank you very much indeed for that, and I shall treasure it. As you can see, I've cleaned it all up, I've polished the box and what have you, and yes, it's just a little thing of interest. A British made in Jedburgh, Scotland, Starrett micrometer. So another new arrival. You will remember a few weeks ago, one of my viewers, Graham, hi Graham, sent me a great big lump of nylon. And actually I wasn't expecting it this time, but he sent me a multi-pack of stainless steel grub screws. Metric sizes from what looks like 8mm, 6, 5, 4, 3, right the way down to what looks like about a 2mm grub screws. So yeah, absolutely marvellous. Thanks for those, Graham. It does actually say in the bottom, but I'd have to empty all the screws out to see what it says. But yeah, thanks very much, Graham. Much appreciated. And I'm sure I can put these to good use. So last, but by no means least, a letter has arrived from my good friends Lance and Patrick at Active Atom. I'm quite amazed at the stamp, actually. Global USA Forever. I don't know what flower you would call that. Is it a peony or something like that? Anyway, yeah, impressive stamp. I really like the stamp. Let me bring that into shot. Yeah, I really like the stamp. All our stamps tend to be square or rectangular, but nice to see a circular one. Very interesting. Stamped San Diego, California from my mates at Active Atom. So let's have a quick look. I was expecting this at some stage. But yes, they've sent me some stickers. So yeah, there's two types. There's the first type, and in fact that's two stickers. There's a main one there, and then there's a little one on the end which comes off separately. That's the one design. And the second design, the Active Atom caricatures. Let me bring those into shot. I'm not sure who's who there, but I would say Lance and Patrick. But whether it's meant to represent them or not, I don't know. But you quite often see little characters and cats on the channel. But yeah, from my mates at Active Atom. Absolutely marvellous. They're going to find a place on the toolbox with Everett sticker. Parcel arrived from Banggood. This is not a Banggood blog. I bought these from Banggood. I was in need of a replacement parting tool tips, and the previous supplier of the parting tool they had, or grooving tool, sold their own tips, but only the sort of general purpose, and I wanted to know exactly what tip configuration they were to be able to possibly get hold of grooving tips for aluminium. So yeah, it's a 12 by 12 and it's a 1.5 wide grooving tool, or parting tool to a certain depth. Yeah, I mean, it's from Banggood. Comes with a little Allen key. It's an MGEHR 1212, that's a 12mm by 12mm shank. 1.5, that's the width. So I bought that as a blank parting tool with no tip. They did various versions with the general purpose tips. But yeah, I mean, I thought I'd go for some of these blue nano tips. I've never used them. They're particularly for hard materials, or harder materials, or so I'm told. But yeah, I got a pack of blue nano tips to go with them, and it worked out about the same price with the nano tips on the tool as it does to buy the standard tips. So yeah, I mean, I may well use this on aluminium, but I tend to use the high-speed steel tool for aluminium and brass and what have you, because it cuts it easy. But when it comes to you know, steels and stainless and, you know, anything a bit tougher, I thought, well, I just as well give these blue nano tips a try. So yeah, I mean, when I come to try them out, I'll let you know what I think. But yeah, I'm not doing a Banggood review of any description here. I don't know what they like, but it's what I needed, and it was cheap. So that's that. And again, the tips I use for aluminium all the time that go in my standard turning tools. Yeah, I mean, bought another box of 10 of those. I was in need of some. I think I was down to my last one, so there's another 10 of those tips. So yeah, that was one parcel from Banggood. So I picked up this little bench mounted vise. Screws on with a G-clamp onto my worktop, or my bench. Little hand wheel underneath. And it's sort of, well, it can go on 90 degrees, it can go, you know, wherever you like it. A bit of a swivel job. Obviously it's not the best quality. It's a Chinese job. You can see this jaw is all wobbly ass whatsits. It comes with a set of rubber jaws, rubber soft jaws over you know, what is this, sort of cast alloy of some description. They're not even hard jaws in there, and they're even painted in the jaws. But for the smaller delicate things and awkward little things that I'm filing now and again, yeah, it's a bit less heavy duty than the 4-inch vise that I use generally. But yeah, I thought it was quite useful in the fact that, you know, you can swivel it around to do different bits and bobs. It's not top quality. It was a tenner. Again, I think it was that Bang company. I don't know about Banggood, but Banggood it was from, and it was a tenner. So yeah, I mean, it's useful. When I don't want it, I can move it out of the way and get it out of my way. So yeah, not a bad little unit, to be honest, for the delicate work. So just to finish off, a little kit of parts for a future project. First of all, I've got a little 12 volt. On reflection, it's a bbit smaller than I was expecting it to be. It's a DC 12 volt, 60 RPM gearboxed motor. 12 volt DC, 6mm shaft with a flat. So that's the motor. So if I got a DC motor, I've also picked up, I'm not going to open the bag at the moment here, 12 volt DC controller, which is a vary speed with reverse, so that it's basically got a forward and reverse switch in here, the control board, and obviously the output wiring, and a potentiometer for the varying the speed of this motor. This takes 12 volt input, or I think something like 8 to 20 volts, something like that. So I've also picked up a little, I think it was 7 amps, I think, let's have a look, 5 amps, a little 5 amp, 240 in, 12 volt DC out. I believe there is a potentiometer on it. You can vary the 12 volt output. So yeah, I mean, that gives me the facility to 240 in, 12 volt DC out, DC speed controller with reverse, to drive this motor at vary speed in both directions. I've gone for the 60 RPM because I do intend on gearing it down, but we'll come to that when I reveal the project for it. And I may keep this setup for perhaps a power feed on my compound slide and go for a 24 volt version of this. For basically, if I give it away, it's going to be a 24 volt or 12 or 24. We'll try this first. If it doesn't work with this isn't powerful enough, I go to 24 volt, but it's going to be for a vary speed for my lead screw up on the handle end. So yeah, I've got a few boxes and fittings and wires and bits and bobs, so that'll be a little project going forward. So my JT Slocum micrometers, refurbished. I put a new coat of black enamel around, masked it all off, what have you. I've cleaned all the threads out, you know, given them a real good clean, blown them out with an airline. 1 drop of my 3-in-1 oil that I've got a tin of. 1 drop on the leads on the threads. Yep, so that's looking a bit more loved now, the JT Slocum. And of course its little brother that I picked up at a boot sale, we've given that the same love. The two JT Slocum mics, the 0-1 and the 1-2. So yeah, a little bit of refurbishment. I've actually come across a box. A box here which I've given the shoe shine treatment and what have you, and glued it back together where it was falling apart. I'm going to have to do something with the interior, maybe get some sort of lining in it. It's, I believe it must have been an old jewellery box at some stage during its life, but the old velvet in here has picked up loads of muck and what have you, and that's like a satin in there. But I think with a little bit of messing about, we might be able to find a nice little home for those two. What do you think? I think they deserve it. There we are. So they're living in there for now, and I'm going to find myself some high density foam, something like that, to give them a nest to sit in. So this is where the new shed extension is going to go. It's 1 metre by 2 metres. More than enough room for a milling machine, I would have thought. Here we are, guys. couple of shots of the flowers in the garden. They're coming along nicely. It's keeping the missus happy, and that's what's allowed me to have the extra space, is keeping her happy. Anyway, I pretty much gave away the next project that I'm going to be doing, which is a variable power feed for the tailstock end of the lathe. Now, the kit that I showed, the bits and pieces that I bought in, were a 12 volt motor, geared motor, and a 12 volt transformer. I've got a bit further down the line at the time of editing this. A 12 volt just isn't powerful enough. I have ordered a 24 volt, which hasn't come in yet, and a 24 volt transformer as well. I'm sure the 12 volt will come in for something else at a later date. I'm thinking perhaps a powered quill feed for a milling machine, but that's a bit in the future, but I'm sure it won't go to waste. So anyway, when the new bits come in, I'll show the video as it is so far. I've already made the pulleys and what have you, but I'll show the making of those and the clips of making those in relation to the 12 volt, but it's just a simple little modification to change it for the 24 volt motor. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you all very soon. Cheers now.